Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, so I'm here to talk about a transformation that's taking place in our times, a transformation that is, I think, monumental in its nature, bringing together two very monumental technologies of AI and blockchain together. Uh, my name is Vivek, as this isn't moving. My name is Vivek. I have been in crypto for about half a decade. Um, I've seen all the bangs, I've seen all the bugs, I have seen all the highs, all the lows, made a lot of losses, regained some of them, lost them again. I'm the CTO of CoinDCX. For those who don't know, CoinDCX is one of India's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. We are one of the first cryptocurrency exchanges in India, and by volume and by user, the largest in India today. So, very interesting disruption. Uh, anyway, so let's start off. Let's take a look at this, right? We are talking about AI mentions in earning transcripts. If you look at the data of AI mentions in earning transcripts versus blockchain, you will clearly notice that the money is actually going into AI everywhere. We know that the real money right now, all investments, everything is moving into AI. But the real question here is there a role for blockchain in this AI? Is there an intersection that we foresee between these two emerging technologies? And if so, how is blockchain going to add value to AI? Or the other way around, how do we see AI adding any value to the blockchain ecosystem? In many ways, I think we are at a tipping point as far as AI is concerned. Because if you look at closely, this I've basically drawn out the AI index of humans across different countries. You will notice that at an average, the AI, the human IQ is about 100, right? So if you talk about people who have very high IQs, say for example, your PhD professors, your maths Olympiad winners, etc., the IQ would probably extend between say about 120 to about 160, right? And the way AI has been evolving today, AI already operates at about an IQ of 120. With an AI operating at an IQ of about 120, we could easily say that it is probably already operating at what you could say a sleep-deprived PhD professor. Right? So that's already something that is happening. And AI is continuously growing. It is accelerating. We are getting into a world where, as you can see, we are talking about the SOTA model, which already talks about a IQ of about 160. And so we are already getting into a world where AI will have an IQ of about 150. Now imagine this world. Imagine a world where everybody has an access to about 150 in IQ, right? At the tip of your fingers, right? So you type tuck 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 tuck, and the IQ that you basically are getting is about 150. But then again, the real question is, who is making these AI models? Who controls these AI models? If you look today, most of the AI models are completely controlled by the big tech. They are controlled either by your GPU providers, NVIDIA, it's already controlled by your cloud providers, AWS, Microsoft, etc. In a world where IQ is actually going and touching human IQ levels, a world where the IQ of an AI model is crossing that of an average human, do you really want this control to be in the hands of 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 a of a big corporation? Now, we basically talk about, and this is not basically something that is happening slowly. This is something that is accelerating at a very rapid pace. AI is growing. AI is basically developing almost every day. In fact, we in crypto basically have always said that Web3 is fast moving. Web3 moves really fast. It's a dynamic field. But the reality check of this is that AI is actually growing 3x the speed of blockchain. There is a new white paper that is coming out every day. In fact, there is now an AI that is used to process or read AI white papers. Right? Take the example of the Notebook LM from Google. You can pick up any white paper and drop it into Notebook LM. Take up the Bitcoin white paper, take one of those insane zero knowledge ZK white papers, drop it in, and what you get as an output? You get an output, a podcast of two people who are talking about that white paper and explaining it to you. That is the incredible power of IQ that AI is today providing. But it doesn't stop there. It's not only about IQ now, it's also about EQ. For the longest time, we have believed that machines cannot operate at the empathy level of a human. They cannot be as compassionate as humans. Look closely. In this chart, you will see that we have done a comparison, or a research has done a comparison of comparing physicians, doctors, human doctors, with a AI-driven diagnosis. On one hand, on the diagnosis parameter, your AI is already performing better. And on the empathy parameter, the AI is performing almost at the same level, in certain cases better than a physician. Right? So now imagine a machine that is not only intelligent, is more intelligent than an average human, is almost as intelligent as some of the most intelligent people in the world, but is also compassionate, is also empathetic, is also warm to you. That is the power that we are developing the AI into. And so then, needless to say, we will end up in a world where AI will be used in almost every decision making. Every big financial decision, market decisions, maybe even governance and government decisions, AI will act as an AI decision layer. And so what should concern us is, who's building this AI? Who is controlling this AI? Who is defining what is compassion? Who is defining what is empathy? Who is defining what's intelligence? Who is making these decisions for us? And as it stands today, these decisions are being made by a select few big corporations. We are developing into a world where the decision making in what we understand as knowledge, what we think of as knowledge, will be controlled and governed by a select few. We started off from internet becoming an enabler, then basically social media defining how we look at social interactions. Your big tech, big four defining how you actually look at social interactions. And now this is evolving into a world where the big tech will decide how you think, what information will be suppressed, what information will be shown to the world, and how decisions are being made. This should definitely be something that should scare us. This is not scaremongering. This is not something that we are scaremongering people around, right? I mean, we have seen how decisions are being manipulated, how decisions are basically evolving into things that they probably should not. And that is where I think blockchain comes into the picture. Why blockchain? And that is where blockchain has a role to play in AI. To me personally, blockchain has three fundamental principles. It's about resilience, transparency, and cooperation. And one of my favorite tweets by somebody called as Balaji actually talks about it a lot. But basically, transparency, cooperation, and resilience. And if you think back, what are the things that we are talking about today which is problematic about how AI is evolving? We are talking about not having transparency on how AI models are developed. We don't have transparency on how AI models are basically doing inference. We don't have control on their modeling. We don't have control on their inference. We don't have control on how that data is stored, shared, processed. And everywhere you will see that crypto or blockchain typically, generally solves this problem, because blockchain is actually designed to solve this problem. Today, um, I'll actually ask you to take a test and do this whenever you get a chance. Go to DeepSeek, right? Go to DeepSeek and ask DeepSeek about Elon Musk. You will see that it'll give you a very nice mixed response. Go and ask about Z Ping, and it gives you a very diplomatic answer. What does it mean? It means that the decisions are being determined by the people who are making model. Why is this happening? Because your model determines your decision, your model determines the knowledge. People who are making the model therefore determine the knowledge. And so then they have the capability to determine this for you, right? And in crypto, we have always said this. In crypto, we have said that there's a very famous saying in crypto. Now we keep saying, not your key, not your asset. I say not your key, not your crypto. That can very easily be extended into AI world. We say not your model, not your intelligence, not your model, not your knowledge, right? So if we have solved this in crypto, automatically this creates a world where you can actually try to solve this for AI, because blockchain is actually designed to build this transparency, to build this decentralization. So why limit crypto to financial transactions? Why limit crypto to verification of only financial transactions? Why couldn't you extend crypto to also look at verifying decisions that are being made by your AI model? Right? Now, when we talk about, one automatic inference, at least when I was thinking about what I'm going to come up and say today, the moment I started thinking about decentralization, we're thinking about, control, not in the hands of big tech and all of that. I think one first example that comes into your mind is DeepSeek, right? You will basically be, but what about DeepSeek, right? Now, there are two arguments that typically experts make about DeepSeek. One argument that people make is that DeepSeek has made AI modeling cost efficient. And so therefore they have made AI modeling very accessible to a lot of people. The second argument that is made is because it's open source, it is decentralized. Now what is the reality check on DeepSeek? The reality check on DeepSeek is it is not decentralized. The cost reduction in AI processing, AI modeling is not out of the curve on cost cuts in the AI models, and that it is in no way not dependent upon centralized bodies or centralized infrastructure. If you take every piece, right, let's take one piece at a time. Let's, for example, talk about cost. Right? We are saying that they have managed to process data at $6 million. Great, super. But no, DeepSeek v3.0 is nowhere close to ChatGPT 4.0, as an example, right? Turbo GPT 4.0, efficiency between DeepSeek v3.0 is not even same. But let's say that if it is same, let's say, okay, Turbo 4.0 equivalent. Turbo 4.0 data processing cost $40 million. The same thing, if you are done in 2020, that would have taken $6 billion. So on the cost curve, we have actually come down from what was a 6 billion cost to a 40 million cost. It's a natural curve of cost reduction, and DeepSeek has an advantage of being able to reduce that cost. What DeepSeek has managed to do, though, is that it has managed to show that AI dominance is not Silicon Valley specific. Right? It's basically managed to tell you that you can do AI dominance outside of Silicon Valley also. So in other words, it's a geopolitical play, but it's not decentralized. Second, we say open source, and so decentralized. Open source is not equal to decentralized. Decentralized is decentralized, open source is not decentralized. As an example, some people have actually done an experiment by placing a Wireshark, a network monitoring tool, and they have actually looked at where all is DeepSeek actually connecting to, who all is DeepSeek talking to, and you will notice that DeepSeek actually connects to Alibaba infrastructure, Alibaba Cloud in London, and it also connects to China. How is this decentralized? It simply says that instead of relying on AWS and Google or Microsoft, you can rely on Alibaba. That, again, is a geopolitical play. It basically is a play between China and US. It's not a play for us. It's not basically a play of decentralization. It's not basically bringing in control of your models, of your data, transparency in your hand. You don't even know why it's hitting China. I mean, if they know why they're hitting China, can you look at that in the open source code that they have and tell me why it's in China? Nobody knows why it is China. Right? And so therefore, it brings us to the point where intelligence layer must be open. It must not be closed. These are your two options. Do you run your model on a public infrastructure? Is the output verifiable and open source? Is it owned by the users? Alternative, as we know AI today, AI is a black box, controlled completely by the big tech. You don't own the models, you don't own the data, and so therefore it's not your mind. This is the cross section that we are on. This is the decision we need to make. This is our crossroad. Do we go this way or do we go that way? What is the way would you like to go? Would you like to go this way or would you like to go that way? I think the answer is pretty obvious. We want to go this way. But let's basically try to understand what this centralization basically means, right? I mean, let's take a moment to understand. I mean, I'm saying centralization, big tech control, this and that, et cetera, et cetera. NVIDIA today is a $3 trillion company. We all know this. It's a very common knowledge. It's $3 trillion company simply because it controls GPU. And GPU is the most expensive resource in the world today. Anybody who controls GPU controls AI modeling. Anybody who controls GPU controls the outcomes that come from it. 80% of your AI data modeling today is done on one of the top 3 cloud providers, AWS, Microsoft, or Google Cloud. So they don't like your model. What is their option? They can cut you off. They can decide that, no, I will not give you the GPU. They can decide, no, I will not give you the processing capability. You cannot do this model on me because I don't like your model. And this is not something I am creating as a hypothetical example. We saw the classic case of this playing out when the whole Sam Altman incident in OpenAI was happening. What was Microsoft's role in that? Microsoft's role in that was that they had Azure Cloud. They had the GPUs, they had the processing capabilities, and they could fund OpenAI only purely based on that without exchanging any cash. They could control what happens in OpenAI's administration, management, right? Obviously, a lot of support for Sam within the organization also. I will not deny that. But what was Microsoft's role? I mean, people within OpenAI could have decided because everybody in OpenAI wanted Sam. But it required Satya to intervene, and Satya could intervene because he had the power of Google Cloud, a power of Azure Cloud. That's the monopoly we are talking about, and that's the monopoly we need to break. And so what is your answer? Your answer, as I've been saying, the only answer to this is to be fully decentralized. Own your data, own your model, own your intelligence. Ask for it, demand for it, and build an infrastructure towards that. How does blockchain solve this? Well, that is where the intersection of blockchain, AI, and crypto comes into the picture. Blockchain has been solving for decentralization since the time we know. It was actually invented to solve the problem of centralization. Bitcoin has very clearly shown that you don't need money, you don't need banks to transfer money. Ethereum has shown that you don't need intermediaries to execute smart contract. So then why do you limit crypto only to financial transactions? Do you require verifiability only in financial transactions, or do you also require verifiability in every critical decision that is being made in the markets, in the businesses, by the governments, in the governance? And the answer to that is, I think, very obvious. You can get verifiability through blockchain. You can get verifiability of the data using the blockchain technology. And so why not think of blockchain? Why not think of blockchain as an infrastructure for trust? Why would you think of blockchain to drive decentralized finance, payment rail, transactions and lending protocol, but not think of blockchain as a trust layer that can run on top of AI? How do we do that? I mean, theoretically, we said it, but how do we achieve that? We achieve that by basically executing at 3 different levels. First, you bring in decentralized compute. What does decentralized compute mean? It simply means that you're going to create a pool of GPUs with GPU processing capabilities across the world. It's in my laptop, it's in your laptop, it's in everybody's laptop. What if you could create a pool of these GPUs that could be used by AI developers to train their models? First level. Second level, you basically create incentive for people to run these models. Why would I run your GPU workload on my laptop? Or why would you run any AI developer's model on your laptop? Crypto can be used to incentivize people in a decentralized, transparent fashion. And third, obviously, how do you get the verifiability on the results? You can get the verifiability on the result by publishing what is typically called zero knowledge proofs on chain. So you publish zero knowledge proofs on chain. Everybody knows that your model is doing what it is expected to do. So you have taken the control away from the big tech in the form of GPU capabilities and in the form of cloud. You have taken away the black box nature by creating models that are run on your own machine. And you have taken away the verifiability, the lack of verifiability today in the result by publishing ZK proofs on chain. And this is not theoretical. This is happening. This is happening as we speak. Genesis is a company that is already creating decentralized compute networks. Akash Network is a company that allows you to run AI workloads on this decentralized compute. There is Render Network, which is actually creating permissionless, verifiable, zero knowledge AI rendering. This is happening as we speak. We need to continue to build on this infrastructure. But this intersection actually goes both ways, right? On one hand, we are talking about AI basically getting the trust layer from crypto. We are talking about AI getting trust layer from blockchain. On the other hand, AI can actually power your decentralized finance also, right? For example, AI models have been used in what we in crypto worlds like to call traditional finance for a very long time, right? So we have algo trading. Algo trading is based on AI models. We have been using them for a very long time. But like centralized finance, like traditional finance, these models are also centralized. Do you know what those algo trading models are doing? You have no idea what those algo trading models are doing. Decentralized finance, on the other hand, luckily, yet so far is completely decentralized, it's completely transparent. But even if I say so, and I'm a complete enthusiast of Web3, DeFi is dumb. Smart contracts are not as smart as we think they are. They are rule-based, they are static in nature, they are not dynamic in nature, and that is where AI has a role to play. What AI can do is that AI can add a layer of intelligence on top of this decentralized finance, moving us from what we like to call, at least I like to call, from DeFi, DEFI, to DeFi powered by AI, DEFAI. Right? So you're moving from DeFi to DeFi, which is basically DeFi powered by AI. And some examples, I'll give you a couple of examples. I'm very short on time, but I'll give you one or two examples. One of the classic examples of this is how you use AI in lending and borrowing protocols in crypto, right? In lending and borrowing protocols in crypto, your collateral ratio is fixed. So you say, okay, I'm going to give you this much collateral for which you can give me this much loan. Interest rates are fixed, right? So you give the specific interest rate, the interest rate remains fixed. And so therefore, liquidation of your collateral is static in nature. As soon as you are basically out, your collateral is liquidated. This is very similar to how it happens in your traditional finance world, right? You will basically put up some, say, you put up your gold for collateral, there is a fixed ratio against which you get the asset. But imagine a world where collateralization is dynamic in nature. Depending upon the demand supply in the market, depending upon the volatility of the market, you are able to change the nature of your collateral. There is more demand, your collateral has to increase. There is less demand, you release your collateral and get access back to that. Your interest rates are dynamic in nature. And so therefore your liquidation is dynamic in nature, more predictive in nature, allowing you to protect your assets more dynamically. Imagine a world where bank comes back and tells you, take back some of this gold. The price of gold has increased and your loan has reduced. So this is your gold back. I will not keep the whole thing. Will they do that to you? They will not do that to you. This is possible in a DeFi world that is powered by AI. Classic another example could be fraud prevention. We know that crypto is rife with frauds, crypto scams. It happens in any permissionless world. AI can basically add a lot of layering on top of it that will keep the bad actors out, raise red flags whenever there is a suspicious transaction, and prevent any sort of smart contract which has vulnerabilities from being published. And I could get into more examples, but I'm sure I'm running short of examples, running short of time, but not of examples. The idea basically being, on one hand, AI can basically add the layer of trust on top. Blockchains can add a layer of trust on top of AI. AI can add intelligence to DeFi. And at this intersection lies our intersection. And so therefore, this is the end game. AI will basically drive everything that we talk about. Blockchain will basically add the trust. And so what you need is not artificial intelligence. What you need is self-sovereign intelligence. Intelligence that you have control over, intelligence that is driven on your data. And that can only happen by bringing in blockchain and AI together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vivek. We can ask just two questions in the interest of time. So yes.
Hi, nice talk. So this future of decentralized autonomous organizations which will have the GPUs and all of us an equal stake seems will cost quite a lot. Who do you think will stand up and pay for such an endeavor? If the corporates, as you say, totally against this. Where will such money come from?
Why would you think that decentralized compute will be more expensive?
Well, if you need to train, if you need to, going by what you said, if you need to train systems based on data which is independent,
Sure.
you will need to train from scratch, right? So you'll need the hardware, right? So
Acha, haan. So I think I got the intent of your question. There are two parts to this AI modeling, at least in my opinion. One is that you are going to train very large models, right? The other is you are going to actually create a lot of these subsection models, which will be very specialized models. That is where people actually require a lot more control. That's one. Second is because you're incentivizing the users, your pricing can actually be determined by the demand-supply dynamics of the market. The more the number of users who are basically going to be a part of the GPU, the cheaper it will get. Whereas in a centralized world, the pricing is completely determined by the big corporation. Right? So I, as a Google, can determine whatever the price of my GPU will be. But in a open, decentralized world, the pricing will be very dynamic. And as the models have therefore become more efficient, more GPUs come into the market. Say example, 4 or 5 billion of people are basically committing to provide this GPU. Your pricing will automatically get managed by the demand supply. And that is the power of market, which is currently not existent. And therefore, we are saying it's a monopoly. When you remove this monopoly, the pricing will automatically become more dynamic and more price sensitive.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes.
Yeah, I think excellent talk. One thing is that now we have a monopoly between the cloud providers and the GPU providers.
Correct.
With the crypto inside that, maybe we'll have more players to the competition, but the competition still remains the same, right? Now, maybe it's with because even the blockchain and other algorithms that you run are very GPU intensive, right? They can't be run on your normal laptops.
No, we're not
So-
talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin mining is
I mean,
GPU intensive.
if you're adding a trust to that, I mean,
Sure.
eventually the algorithms will be so complicated that my phone can't run that. But if I want self-sovereign intelligence, then it's not truly achievable, right? We are going for something very idealistic in that case.
No, so I think your question basically being, say, for example, if I want to publish ZK proof is very, say, for example, compute intensive. How are you going to get to a world where it will not be compute intensive? I think we are getting to a place where, I think that's the intent of the question. I think we are getting to a place where ZK proofs are becoming more and more compute friendly. In fact, we are at CoinDSX also running a project of where we are actually launching a chain called as Octo Chain, where we are going to publish the proof of code execution. So, for example, you execute the code, I am going to prove it on chain that it is actually doing what you said it will do. And we started off from a place where we couldn't have brought in ZK because it was too expensive for our end user, to a place where we believe that in about 2 to 3 years' time, ZK will actually reach to a place where it can be executed on commodity hardware. Right? So, and that is a lot more solvable problem than basically training large AI models on commodity infrastructure.
Thank you, Vivek. That was very insightful. Round of applause for Vivek, gentlemen.
Thank you.